Welcome to the deep dive. You know, sometimes true mastery, it's not about the big, flashy stuff. It's hidden, isn't it? In those tiny, intricate details. Think about something like a watch dial. It seems simple, maybe, but it can hold centuries of tradition and innovation right there. Today, we're diving deep into exactly that kind of world. We're really getting into German mechanical watchmaking, and specifically, we're focusing on this magnificent piece from Glashütte Original. It's the PanoLunarTourbillon, the new one in platinum and salmon. Now, for this deep dive, we're actually working from just one source, but it's incredibly rich. It's an expert review that really peels back the layers on this watch and the brand's whole approach. So our goal here is to unpack what makes this timepiece tick, literally. Why isn't it just another luxury watch? We want to understand the craftsmanship, the history, the cutting-edge watchmaking skill involved. We'll look at everything from the town itself to the tiniest parts inside. Okay, let's get into it and explore the world inside this amazing watch.
Yeah, and what hits you right away is how much the place itself, Glashütte, matters to these watches. It's not just a location, it's fundamental to their identity. And that commitment, you can actually see it, feel it in the quality. This small town, Glashütte, it's genuinely the historical heart of German watchmaking. I mean, you've got something like 12 different brands there, ranging from the absolute top tier down to, well, more accessible pieces. Still amazing quality, though.
12 brands in one small valley.
Yeah.
That's a pretty incredible concentration of skill.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that specific rule about using the Glashütte name on the dial, right? What does that actually mean for a maker like Glashütte Original?
Oh, absolutely. It's a big deal. Legally, to put Glashütte on the dial, at least 50% of the watch's value has to be created right there in Saxony.
Yeah.
But it's more than just a rule. For these brands, it's a massive point of pride. It's part of their core philosophy. And Glashütte Original, or a O as people call them, they really lean into this. They often go way, way beyond that 50%. It proves their connection, makes the story authentic.
Right, so it's proof of origin, but also a commitment. And speaking of commitment, I heard they made a really interesting move recently with their dials, bringing production back home.
Yes, exactly. That's a really significant strategic decision. They moved most of their dial making from Pforzheim back to Glashütte itself.
So this isn't just about logistics, is it? What does moving dial production in-house, especially for high-end pieces, tell us about their priorities? It feels, I don't know, almost old-fashioned, but in a good way.
It tells us a lot. It's crucial, particularly for watches like this PanoLunarTourbillon. It means these special, smaller batch dials can be made completely in-house and mostly by hand. Just imagine the process. Preparing the basic blanks could be brass, German silver, sterling silver, bronze, even solid gold. Then soldering on the tiny feet, drilling microscopic holes for the hands and markers, cutting details, laser engraving. Then there's that silver plating by friction, which is incredible. And the final varnishes and galvanic treatments for color and finish. It's pure craft.
Silver plating by friction. Wow. And it's not just the main dial plate, right? The little discs for the Moonphase and the big date display, too.
That's right. Even those intricate parts, the Moonphase disc, the Panorama Date discs, they're all made in that same facility now.
That level of doing everything yourself, vertical integration, must give them some real advantages.
Huge advantages. Strategically, it means they can react much faster if they want to change a design or experiment. It gives them way more creative freedom, more flexibility, and maybe most importantly, it guarantees they can maintain those incredibly high-quality standards they're famous for. It really reinforces that idea. The more Glashütte in a Glashütte watch, the better, the more authentic it is.
Okay, so we've got this picture of incredible dedication in Glashütte. Let's focus now on how that plays out in this watch, the new PanoLunarTourbillon. What makes this version stand out, especially compared to earlier ones?
Well, the big shift is the case material. Previous PanoLunarTourbillon were often in gold, various kinds. This new one uses platinum, very sophisticated, understated luxury. Size-wise, it's 40 millimeters across, about 12.7 millimeter thick, and 47 millimeter lug to lug. So it has presence, definitely not small, but it's not huge either. It sits really nicely. The proportions are just lovely, and the finishing, as you'd expect, is top-notch. They've slightly tweaked the case profile, alternating brushed and polished finishes. It really catches the light beautifully.
And that dial color, the salmon, it's not just a trendy color choice, is it? There's a local connection.
There is. It's inspired by the reddish iron ore found in the mountains right there around Glashütte, so they call it iron ore salmon sometimes. It's achieved with a special galvanic process, giving it this really rich, deep tone. And to make everything super clear and visually interesting, different parts have different finishes. The main part is grained, you see that subtle texture. But the subdial, for hours and minutes, has this fine circular pattern called snailing. The Moonphase really pops with its outline, and the Panorama Date window gets a frame made of applied platinum, matching the case.
Nice details. And I see those blue hands and markers. A deliberate choice to add contrast.
Exactly. That deep blue looks fantastic against the salmon and platinum. It also ties in with other little blue bits, like the tip of the tourbillon cage you can see on the dial. And speaking of details, the Moonphase is incredibly accurate. Its gearing is precise to within about 57 seconds per lunar month. You see the scale for its roughly 29.5-day cycle. And the Panorama Date, that's a Yo-Go signature, uses 2 separate discs side by side on the same level, so the date is really big and easy to read, no overlap. And of course, right there on the dial, Glashütte Original. That stamp confirms it meets those strict regional standards we talked about.
That little signature says so much. Okay, let's move beneath the dial. The movement, the engine of the watch. We're talking about the caliber 93.03 here. What's the highlight inside?
Ah, the movement. Always a treat with Glashütte Original. This is the caliber 93.03, an update to the 93.02. And the absolute star, no question, is the flying tourbillon. You can see it right there, doing its dance through the dial opening. And what's really fascinating, connecting back to the town's legacy, the flying tourbillon itself is a Glashütte invention. It shows how that history of innovation is still alive today. It's not just technical wizardry, it's heritage.
Wait, really? I always associate tourbillon more with Swiss watchmaking, but the flying tourbillon came from Glashütte.
That's absolutely right. Developed by Alfred Hellwig, who taught at the watchmaking school there back in 1920. What makes it flying is that it's only supported from underneath, unlike traditional tourbillons held by a bridge on top. So visually, the whole cage just seems to float, to fly as it rotates. It's mesmerizing. And this watch is a direct tribute to Hellwig's genius.
Amazing piece of history right there on your wrist. So beyond the tourbillon itself, what about the rest of the movement? How is it finished?
Oh, it's beautifully done. Even if it's somewhat understated compared to some Swiss styles, the main plates and bridges are rhodium plated, giving this nice silvery gray look. But then you see the details. Classic wide Glashütte ribbing, engravings filled with blue ink, all the edges meticulously beveled and polished by hand that takes serious skill. And of course, heat-glued screws. It's all very German, very precise, very high-quality finishing.
And technically, any upgrades in performance for this caliber 93.03? Power reserve? Modern tech?
Well, for winding, you've got this off-center rotor, skeletonized with the double G logo, also rhodium plated. It has a heavy weight made of 21-karat white gold on the edge to make winding really efficient. The beat rate stays at 21,600 vibrations per hour, which is a solid, stable frequency. But the big upgrade is the power reserve. They've managed to get 60 hours out of a single barrel now, up from 48 hours before. That's quite useful. And yes, modern materials too. You can see the balanced spring through the front. It's made of silicon. That helps reduce friction, resist magnetism, and improve long-term accuracy and durability. One last tiny detail. Right in the center of the tourbillon, holding the balance staff, is a diamond end stone. Reduces friction at a critical point. It's beautiful, but functional too.
Wow. Okay, so bring it all together. This isn't just a watch you buy off the shelf. It feels like stepping into a very specific tradition. What does owning this piece signify?
You've got it. It's a piece of high watchmaking horology. And this specific version, the platinum with the iron ore salmon dial, is super exclusive. They're only making 50 of them. That's it. It comes on either a blue alligator strap or a blue synthetic fabric strap, both with a platinum folding clasp to match the case perfectly.
50 pieces worldwide. That's rare. And the price reflects that, I imagine. Looking at this watch, with all that craft and history, what's the takeaway? Is it the mechanics, the rarity, something else?
Well, the price is EUR 125,000. So yes, it's a very significant investment. But what comes across most strongly, I think, is the sheer dedication. It represents centuries of accumulated skill poured into every single part. Like the source review says, it's genuinely one of Jogo's absolute best. That platinum and salmon combination, just brilliant, especially with those blue accents and the refined look of the movement. And the finishing, it's simply superb. Everywhere you look, you're not just buying something to tell time, you're really acquiring a piece of living history, a work of art made by hand.
And that seems like a perfect place to wrap up our deep dive for today. We've traveled, metaphorically at least, from that small German town, Glashütte, right into the heart of this truly exceptional watch. We've seen how Glashütte Original manages to weave together this deep sense of place, incredible handcraft, and serious watchmaking innovation. There were definitely some surprises for me along the way. What about you listening? What stood out? Was it the sheer amount of handwork just on the dial, or maybe finding out the flying tourbillon wasn't Swiss but actually born in Glashütte?
Yeah, and it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? In a world that seems obsessed with speed and mass production, what can we learn from this commitment, this dedication to craft, to place, to quality that lasts? How might thinking about that change how we value other things? Maybe even how we approach our own work or passions? Something to mull over.